Hi, I'm Jasmine Moore, and I'm going to be giving a summary of Fault in Our Stars. Something I liked about the book was it was pretty honest and open about what it's like to have cancer. It says that depression is not a side effect of having cancer. Dying is, and I don't know, I felt like that really hit hard. It goes on and on about just an insight about how you kind of feel hopeless, and it just gave me a different perspective. I think this book is very amazing. It's one of my favorite books. I would definitely recommend it. I think this book is a mixture of comedy and tragedy with romance in it, definitely. There's definitely some romantic, heart tugging moments, and there's also tragedy in it that really, it's a tearjerker. And it's comedy because, they're telling a bunch of jokes and they're being upbeat and funny about it, and it's just amazing altogether. So the summary is Hazel Grace is diagnosed with thyroid cancer that unfortunately spreads to her lungs. She is under constant oxygen supply and is depressed. Her mother asks if she would go to a support group to maybe help with the coping, knowing that she's not alone. Hazel Grace doesn't really want to go, but she does anyway for her mother's sake. When she gets there, she meets a new boy named Augustus Waters that is 17 years old that had cancer in his leg. It needed to be cut off, but after that, he was clear of cancer. They then bond immediately and agree to read each other's favorite novels. Hazel recommends An Imperil Affliction, a novel written by Peter Van Houten. Later, Augustus finishes the book and is complaining that the book doesn't have a satisfying ending. They both bond over how the book should have had a different ending and maybe even continued. The book goes on about how the relationship is kind of growing and evolving into something more and more. And then eventually they go on dates. They talk about wishes from the Genies, which is a program for cancer patients so they can have a wish. Um, Grace said that she spent her wish already, but Augustus has not. He then plans a surprise flight to New Hampshire so that Grace can talk to Peter Van Houten about the book. Unfortunately, a few days after they plan the trip, Hazel has extreme chest pain from lack of oxygen, which she needs to be hospitalized immediately. The doctors tell her that she cannot go on the trip and fear that she could have this attack again on the plane and wouldn't have proper treatment. She is heartbroken about this, but then her parents surprise her with extra oxygen tanks so that she can go on the trip. Once she gets there, her and Augustus spend the night on a romantic date at a nice fancy restaurant, and then they're off to see Mr. Van Houten. Once they get there, they are surprised to see a drunk man that is extremely rude and disrespectful to them, making fun of their cancer and saying stuff like they depend on having pity to pay for their treatments. The secretary that works for him that keeps his house clean is awestruck that he would say such a thing and quits right there on the spot. They agree that meeting Mr. Van Houten wouldn't ruin their trip, and they decide to go on another date anyway. Without giving the complete ending away, I'm just going to end it with this book it's a heart jerker. It really tugs at the heartstrings, and you just want to keep reading more and more. I would say that the comedy is very uplifting, and the romantic scenes and the romantic parts are very, very sweet, and you just can't put the book down. It's an amazing book.